vertical, too. Both of them actually started the game jumping center. During warm-ups, huh?
And here is Jumaine Jones.
What up, people? Welcome back to the Boom Boom Room. I'm your host, Ron Slay. I'm fortunate to have my guy come on. I had to dig in my bag, pull this brother out, man. It took a minute, you know what I mean? But we finally got it together. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's the accolades go on and on. From Florida, you know what I mean? Made his bones in the state of Georgia. You know, I'm gonna let him explain a little bit more about that. Then went on, had a pro career. And then once this COVID and everything let up, we're gonna get my man up here, man. However I gotta get him, if I gotta go pick him up, fly him up here, we're gonna get the impersonal interview, you know what I'm saying, and have the drinks flowing, and we're gonna chop it up about the pro career and on about life after being a pro, you know what I mean, and try to drop some jewels for you young kids out there listening. But without further ado, man, I got my dog, Jumaine Jones. Welcome to the show, man. Glad to have you, my dog.
Man, I appreciate you having me, man.
Hey, it's all love, baby. It's all love. Man, first and foremost, man, we're going to dive straight off into it, man. Give me a little bit straight about you growing up. You know what I mean? You coming from Florida, but you played ball in Georgia, though. You played ball in high school in Georgia. Give me a little bit about your upbringing, man.
Well, you already know we from the gutter, man. I came from Cocoa, Florida, which was one of the a small city in the state of Florida. But at the time I was coming up there, man, we was ranked top 25 in the state in murder rates.
Right.
And being in such a small town, there's no way that we should have been ranked in the state of Florida. So that kind of gives you a sense of the kind of neighborhood I brought up. All I ever knew was drug dealers. All I ever knew was, we looked up to the drug dealers because that's all we ever seen.
Straight up.
We didn't have opportunities to go anywhere. My parents and my family couldn't afford to, I lived in Cocoa, Florida, which is like an hour and 15 minutes from Orlando. Mm-hmm. I had never been to Orlando, Florida.
That's great.
So that kind of lets you know the environment that I was surrounded by. And, it was tough coming up. What led to my change in going to Georgia was just too much for my mom to witness me witness.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot going on. I witnessed a murder.
Right.
Seeing so many drug transactions. I worked in the convenience store where they were selling drugs out of there. So of course, my mom's like, okay, you're seeing all this, you're gonna go right into, what everybody else is doing, and she was right, because that's all I ever seen, and I couldn't wait to graduate school so I could start doing the same thing.
Right.
Get me a ride and get me some rims so I can get the girls and have money.
Yeah.
That's the only vision that we seen.
Yeah.
So my mom's like, okay, that's it, man. We got to get you out of here. And she, talked with my aunt in Camilla, Georgia, small town, very family-oriented town. And it was, that was the beginning of my career, man, to be able to go there and get the love that I was getting from my family, the support that I needed, everything that I needed, as far as working hard, came from my, man, she paved the way. I mean, we was out there in the fields, man.
Yeah.
We was in, she's out there on 40 acres, man. She had like watermelons, cantaloupe, peanuts, pecans, and not only was she taking care of her land, she was taking care of other people's land, but we was the ones that was doing all the work.
Yeah.
And we was, it was strange because I always told people like my aunt worked us so hard, like everything outside of the house came easy to us.
Yeah.
Like we wanted like hard work to go out and do something outside of the house. I was like, man,
That's the
you
easy
don't
part.
even know what we could do.
Yeah.
And we thought we was working like we thought we was working to get money.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, you ate last night, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it put a lot of things in perspective. Like she made us earn everything that we got. So it made everything easier when it came to being in a competitive sport. For me, like nobody ever gave me anything at the house. So
Right.
of course nobody wanted to give me anything outside of it.
Yeah. And that's funny, man, because I think coming up like that, like you said, we both from similar backgrounds, you know what I mean? And shoot, I don't think we look for nothing. You know what I mean? Look for no handouts. You know what I mean? You wanted to get out and earn. And that's exactly what you did, man. So tell me how you fell in love with basketball though. What made you turn to basketball? Was it other sports involved growing up or were you just strictly basketball?
Man, you know what, man? I never liked basketball growing up,
Really?
man. I wasn't into sports at all. Like I told you, man, I looked up to the drug dealers because they had all the girls, they had all the money. Like that's what I looked up to. But the thing that veered me over to basketball, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start hooping until I was 11 years old.
Right.
And the only reason I played basketball then because all of my friends, whenever I went outside to go play, all of them was at basketball practice.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anybody to play with. I was always the tallest guy, but I never had any interest in playing basketball. So I'm like, okay, well, in order for me to have somebody to play with, I might as well go ahead and try basketball.
Right.
So from that day, man, from the first day I entered the basketball court, man, my competitive nature just took over from there.
Yeah. So the people that don't understand, the viewers, we in here with Jumaine Jones, man, you were really a product of your environment. If you would have stayed around the streets and hustling, you probably would have been a product of that. You was fortunate to get around guys playing basketball, so you were a product of that. So let's fast forward a little bit, man. Once you started playing, who were some of the people that that you were, because your numbers in high school were astronomical. Like those ain't them ain't average numbers, you know what I mean? So who were some of the people that you looked up to, or you were able to see and be like, damn, maybe I can do that right there? Or who were some of the people that inspired you in the basketball game once you started playing?
Well, once I tell you this, man, when I was in middle school in Florida, man, like I was playing a lot of games in 7th, 8th grade, and my family was so busy just trying to make ends meet, man. So I didn't really get a lot of support from my family because they trying to put food on the table.
Right.
So when I moved to Camilla, Georgia, man, to be able to look in the stands and see my family like loading all the stands up, man, to be able to look at up there because I had never seen my family that deep at games, and they was loud. So my motivation was I have to do something to keep my family in the stands.
Right.
That was my motivation to look up there and like, man, what can I do to keep them coming here and support me?
Yeah.
Like every game, man, I always wanted to go out, work hard every single day to get better.
Yeah.
To get better. I want them to keep coming. And my high school coach, man, he pushed me every single day, man. I remember this like yesterday. He used to always tell me because once I started dunking, that's all I wanted to do was dunk.
Yeah.
And he was that person that came to me and was like, look here, Jumaine, you got to start working on other parts of your game. And I was like, wow, I'm just dunk every time.
Yeah.
and he put in my ear, and he was always that person that my father figure in my life that really motivated me to always work harder and to get better because I wasn't interested in that. So being able to listen to him and trust in the things that he provided for me, we would have practices where no dunking at all. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that was just something he came in and I'm like, man, I'm a dunk every single time. Because people like, well, you going into the next level where you're not going to be that. And the people going to be just as athletic as you are. Right. And they're going to be just as skilled as you are. So you're going to have to be able to do other things other than that. Yeah. So for me to be able to take that in and trust the process that he had for me, man, that was the person that really motivated me and my family, the support of them. that kept me grounded.
That's real. That's real. That's crazy because I was the same way in high school. Like I'm looking like you can control this crowd by dunking. Man, I don't care. Give me 5 to 6 dunks a game. I'm cool. I'm doing the airplane down the court in high school. Like I'm in the stand. Coach trying to sub me out. I ain't going, man. I'm about to dunk again, man. So I know exactly what you're talking about, man. Man, expanding your game, though, man. And you definitely did that. So you got to see your fruits of your labor, man. You was a parade All-American your senior year. Gaudy numbers, 32, 14, 15 rebounds a game. Like just crazy. Blocks, steals, everything. So talk about your recruiting process a little bit. You know what I mean? What was what drew you to Georgia? You know what I mean?
It's funny how people always ask me how was my recruiting process, man, but my recruiting process was a bit different than most people. And it's hard for me to explain kids how they should go about their recruiting process.
Right.
My recruiting process being the fact that I never had my father around, and to have my high school coach as my father figure that I felt like understood me, understood where I came from, understood what I needed to be able to produce, know how to like do everything that I needed to push myself to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mentality, I was thinking that I needed another black coach. I needed a black coach to continue to do that for me.
Right.
So all the places that I went, it was because of a black coach. As you know, I went to Tulane on a visit because it was a black coach there at the time. The other schools that I went to is because I built a relationship with a black coach that was an assistant. And then Tubby Smith, as you know, was at the University of Georgia at the time.
Yeah.
And the thing with that drew me to Georgia, like I'm gonna be honest, man. Every school that I went to, man, like they had that bag for me.
Yeah, straight up.
Every single school that I went to, I'm top 20 coming out of high school. I got recruited by every school in the country, and everywhere I went on a visit, man, they had a bag for me, man. And what I respected so much about Tubby Smith, man, he came to me, he told me like, listen here, I'm not promising you anything. You're gonna have to here and earn a starting job. And you're gonna have to come in here and work hard as everybody else. He didn't offer me no bag. He didn't offer me any of that. And I was intrigued by that more than anything coming from somebody like, somebody the same color as me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I respected that more than anything else, and that's what drove me to go to the University of Georgia.
Man, so real quick, man, I'm doing a little coaching over at a high school now, man, and I think kids don't really get it. They think all of this kind of started right now. You know what I mean? The hype and everything, like the bags being offered. Like I'm explaining, how do you explain to a kid, man, that you're not the first one, and for you to listen to your coach and know that you having to expand your game. It ain't just about dunking. Like, you're going to have to be able to do something else out there. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to get further and further on, and we'll touch on that a little later in the conversation. But what the resources that you had, being able to tap into your resources, I think that was one of the biggest things that Nipsey Hussle left us with, man, that you got to be able to tap into your resources. You tapping into your resources, how important was that once you figured that out in high school? Let's go back to high school real quick before we go to college. How important was that you tapping into your resources and listening and where it got you to? How important was that as a youngster?
Well, that's the thing, man. I was always respectful of my adults, and I was always a great listener. I was always coachable, and that's the thing that with these young kids now is different with them because these kids feel so entitled to so much, man, and you really can't blame the parents for that because the parents just really want best for their kids. Right. They want to have more than what they're doing. But to me, in my opinion, I think that's taken away from how the kids are, and they not understanding the process and what it takes. Either way that I talk when I talk with kids today, man, and I always give an example about, Steph Curry, and I love Steph Curry because I know how much he put in to the game.
Right.
You know, his dad played in the league and he put in that work, but I hate the kids to watch him play basketball because they don't understand that this man's father played in the NBA. This man grew up in that environment. This man put in the work and the time every single day from the womb. To me, every shot that he shoots is a bad shot, but not for him because he put that time in.
Exactly.
The kids don't understand the process that he went through to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
These kids coming in the gym now and coming in straight up shooting 3-point shots.
Yeah.
They don't even understand. They don't even watch the part when pregame the stuff that Steph Curry does.
Mm-hmm.
He don't come on the court and start shooting threes.
Right.
Where is he? Right under the rim.
Exactly.
The touch shots. Like kids don't notice the process of everything, man. So when I talk to kids, man, I was like, man, listen, man, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, man. Always listen to people that's trying to guide you in the right direction because they've been there before. And a lot of kids like, well, the coach is on me. The coach is on me. Well, that's what you want the coach to be on you because if he's not saying anything to you, then that's when you probably need to go find you something else to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I tell kids, if the coach is always on you, man, it's only because he sees so much in you that you don't really see in yourself, man, and you should trust the process that he's trying to guide you into. So the things that I would give to kids today is always be open to learn everything that you can learn from anybody that you're around when it comes to basketball. I was fortunate enough to be around some great coaches that was leading me all in the right direction. And the coaches was in great hands with me because I was always willing to listen and to be better every single day because I trusted them and what they was putting in front of me.
Man, you hit that right on the head, boy. I couldn't explain that no more better, man. Let's talk about your freshman year at Georgia. You come on the scene in the SEC and explode immediately. SEC Freshman of the Year. Let's talk about what was it any bumps in the road, man? Because you came in that thing like I'm here. You know what I mean?
Well, my thing was, you know, when I came in, I was so confident in what I did, man, because I know I put in the work. You know what I mean? I put in the work. I was more confident than anybody coming out, man. I felt like, yeah, this guy here, he's a junior, but man, I know I got to come in. I know that was my first mind, like that the first thing on my mind. Like I got to win this starting job first. You know what I mean? Day one, I know I got to come in and do what I need to do. It don't even matter what I did in high school.
Right.
It's what I'm doing right now. So my focus is like, let's go in here, let's put a stamp on this thing right now to win this starting position right now. Yeah. So we could put that behind us so we could focus on bigger things.
Yeah.
and that was my, like my mind was just so focused on, man, I'm getting to the NBA.
Yeah.
At all. So my focus was like bigger than most people, man. And that's what I always tell people, that's what separate NBA guys and guys that's, you know what I mean, that don't make it. The mentality is just so much different than most people. So my focus was going in. It's like, all right, let's go win this starting job. And once I did that, I did have bumps in the road. A lot of people don't even understand because I exploded so much.
Yeah.
My first 4 games that I played, man, I had 7 points in each of those games. 7.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was in the process where I would start questioning myself. Like, man, I don't know. Like, you know, I came in highly, like one of the highest recruits. Like, they was calling me the Thriller.
Thriller, yeah. The Thriller from Camilla.
Thriller, human highlight reel.
Yeah.
Like the biggest recruit to ever come through Georgia since Dominique Wilkins. You know what I'm saying? So I had a lot on my table that I had to focus through to be able to try to answer those. So I'm thinking like I got to come out and average 20 off the gate. All these high expectations that I have. So to average 7 points in my first 4 games really got me back in my bag and humbled me to be able to go in and like, okay, man, this ain't gonna be as easy as you thought it was. So that's what, you know, gave me the refocus to come in like, man, okay, that means we ain't there yet. We got to start back working. Let's get back in the shop. Let's work even harder. Yeah. Let's push harder. Let's do all the things that we need to do to try to get back to the things that you was doing in high school. And that took a lot for me because I didn't ever lift in high school, which I regret. I regret not lifting in high school because that was the bump in the road right there. That was a big adjustment for me to come in the SEC.
Yeah.
You know, playing and not lifting. I was 205 going into college. You know what I'm saying? 6'8". So I learned very quickly, like, okay, boy, you got to get stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to get stronger. You got to get better. You got to get this creatine. You got to eat more. You got to put a little size on you. You know what I mean? So I learned that very early, man. It never really took me long to adjust to a situation, man. But like you said, after those 4 games, that was my bump in the road.
Yeah.
Those 4 games, man. And once I got that breakout game, man, it was over from there.
Yeah.
Like my confidence was soaring again. You know what I mean? I'm feeling
rolling.
myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So after that, you know, everything else is history.
So I that's what I tell people, man, about the SEC. It's a mirror image of what's going on in football. Like SEC is a football conference, and all that spills over to the basketball court. So you come in there thinking it's gonna be like the Pac-12 or whatever, it's gonna be finesse. You sadly mistaken, man. You better hit the weights. You know what I mean? Like, y'all got a great football program down there, and I know it was challenging each other. You know what I mean? In the summertime's working out, seeing them work out. So you got to be on top of your game, man. And you did that. You ended up getting freshman of the year. You split it with my dog Tony Harris up at Tennessee. You know what I mean? Salute to T. Harris. But tell me, though, after that freshman campaign, you could have left. You know what I mean? And before we get into that, I want the people to understand the steps you took. You know what I mean? You didn't skip any process. You know what I mean? I think that's really important. You know what I mean? All the way from high school to your freshman year, you said you had to get humble. You know what I mean? You hitting 7 points a game, and that ain't used to a guy coming out averaging 32. You know what I mean? To go 7 points a game, and you highly touted at that time. So not skipping them processes, finally getting, you know what I mean, what you had to get done to get to the freshman of the year. So you held your own in the SEC. Going into that sophomore year, what was your mind state, and why didn't you leave?
Well, my whole thing is, man, like you said, man, you can never cheat the process, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can't cheat the game, because you always gonna be able to get out the game whatever you put in. And my mentality coming in, man, I was having so much fun down there at the University of Georgia, man. I can't even lie to you. I was having so much fun in school, man. And then, you know, think about the guys that I went to school with that was on the football team, like Champ Bailey, Hines Ward, Richard Seymour, Quincy Carter, you know what I mean, Larry Brown, like, you know what I mean? Like, the list goes on, man. We was having fun down there in Athens, man.
Yeah.
So, and I was, like, my whole thing was, like, okay, man, if I leave school now, I know I'm going to be a first rounder. But if I stay one more year, if we can get a recruit in here that can help me, man, that's going to be good on both ends.
Right.
And we end up signing D.A. Lane that year, man. And that was really got me in there like, oh, man, we got to score.
Yeah.
Somebody that broke Sharif Abdul-Rahim scoring record all in high school. I was like, we got us another score, let's rock. Like, I'm ready now, you know what I'm saying, to be able to increase my chances on my draft stock, to be able to compete in the SEC.
Right.
You know, have somebody else that I knew who was going to come in and put buckets up. And that process was tough, man, because now everybody know who I am.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's not like, okay, this is a new person in the game, and I still got pressure on my head too. Like, okay, man, this guy could have left the league after every game. Now everybody talking about, oh, the NBA,
Right.
the NBA. So that was a whole lot of pressure on me within itself to be able to stay focused and to be able to lock in every single night, man. That's why you can never cheat the process. Every time you step on that wood, man, you got to be focused on trying to get better every single day. And just like, it's so many distractions out there in the world, man. And that's why I always tell people, like, it's great to have great people around you, be surrounded by good people. And the game, like, and I was blessed to be able to have that and be able to listen and be guided in the right direction, because I was always humble. But when I stepped on that floor, man, it was I was a whole different person.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was a whole process in that, man. It wasn't easy at all. Like, a lot of people, you know, look at things like the process is easy, man. The process is never easy, because if it was so easy, then it would be a lot more NBA players.
Guaranteed.
It's only 450 NBA players every single year, man, that's an elite class of people right there. And that just don't come from just sitting around here playing the game every day when you should be in the gym with somebody else getting better.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? So it's a process. It's a process and it's a mentality. It's a process and mentality, man, to be able to stay focused. That's why I give so much salute to LeBron James, somebody that came in and had so much hype throughout his career, man, and so much high expectation for him to stay focused the way he stayed focused, to be able to lock in and still work as hard as he did to get better each and every day, and still he's trying to get better in his 17th career.
Right.
But in the year, man, I mean, you always want to follow somebody's path, man. And I always wanted to be that person. I was always the best player on my team. So I always want to be that leader to be able to look around. If y'all see me working this hard and giving it all I got, man, y'all ain't got no excuse.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I always had that mentality, man, that if I'm rolled like this, man, y'all ain't got no excuses. Y'all shouldn't be making no excuses, because I ain't never been the guy to make any excuses.
Right.
Let's go ahead, let's get it done.
Right. That's real, man. Real quick on what you just hit with D.A. Lane, man, especially in the basketball world. It's 6 degrees of separation in life, man, but it's even smaller in the basketball world, man. So I remember we played D.A. Lane my junior year of high school, man. We played them in the August Classic, man. When I say this dude lit us up, he was playing, I think, for Wheeler or something like that out of Georgia. Man, this dude could shoot the laces off the ball, man. I hadn't seen nothing like that at that time, you know what I mean? And I'm out there running and dunking. I'm averaging about 20 and 10, you know what I mean, as a junior. But I'm just like, darn, this dude here, he's shooting from the volleyball line in high school, man. Like that was different, man. So I forgot D.A. Lane was right there with you, man. I thought he came after you. D.A. Cole, though. D.A. Cole. Cole dude, man.
Man, I tell you a story about D.A. Lane, man. I know you'll appreciate this, man. And this what let me know that, man, I can rock with this dude right here, man. From the first day that he walked in, man, it was a senior by the name of Ray Harrison that was starting in front of him, because he didn't come in starting.
Yep.
He came in the first day of practice, man, and walked up to Ray Harrison and said, and look here, bro, you might be starting right now, but by the end of this season, I'm going to be starting. This is what he said to Ray Harrison.
Freshman.
And I'm looking around here like I'm that person that I always felt like that, but I was never verbal with my
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to actually hear somebody go in and actually say that, man, I was like, I said, oh yeah, we ready.
Yeah.
We ready to go make something.
Yeah, that's it right there. You got a dog ready to scratch like that with you. Hey man, you ready to go up against anything. That's especially a guard. You know what I mean? You playing on the wing at the four. Shoot, you got that ready to rock. Oh, it's on. It's on. So you finished up that freshman year, man. Freshman of the year. Also, you made third team SEC, which is that's saying you're the top 15 players in the SEC, hands down. As a freshman, that's big time, man. Coming into a league that's loaded. Night in and night out, man. You got Kentucky, you got Florida, everybody's loaded. So yeah, you got the radar on your back coming into that sophomore year. Tell me a little bit about that. What was the expectations going into that sophomore year, and what that outcome was like? Because individually, you had a terrific sophomore year.
Well, I mean, my whole thing was, like I told you before, was to raise my stock and try to win more games. Like I want to make it to the tournament. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I want to make it to the show. That was my whole thing. Like, man, if I make it to this show, I'm trying to show up.
Yeah, it's going
you know what I mean? Because I mean that's more people coming in, more fans. That's what I worked hard for, that opportunity to be able to go and do that. So that was my mentality, to go and try to take my team to the tournament. Mm-hmm. And you know, we fell short of that. But we was definitely on the grind. We just didn't have enough.
Right.
We didn't have enough. We had me and D.A. Lane, man, and then a bunch of other guys were just so shy about doing anything else, man. I'll never forget, man. Every game, DA come to me like, look here, man, we're gonna get him about 5 minutes to try to do something. If they ain't trying to do nothing, man, you know what time it is.
We gone. We taking off with it.
You know what I mean? So just to have somebody like him to rock with me, man, and go through that process and get me to, like, we fed off each other, man. If you got somebody like that caliber player to rock with you and to go through that process with you, he made it easier for me. And I'm sure I made that process easier for him as well.
Yeah, ain't no doubt about it, man. So you finish that year up. You go down in history in Georgia. You know what I mean? Max and Dominique is one of the only guys that scored 1,000 points plus in a season. Like, that's not easy to be done. I don't know. Kids, if you listening, trust and believe, man. Not only do you got to be shooting it enough, but you got to be putting it in the hole. So you got to be fishing enough. You know what I mean? And you were that. So you set the bar really, really high. So getting ready to go out of that year, NBA's knocking at your door again. You decide to come on out. What was that process like, getting ready for the draft? You know what I mean? Talk a little bit about that, switching your mind state for the combines and things of that nature.
Well, the funny thing was, man, again, I was having so much fun at the University of Georgia.
Hey, and real quick though, man.
One more year.
Hold on. I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. People, if you haven't been to a school in the SEC when the football team is doing good, you ain't been to an SEC school. I promise you. Like, basketball can be doing great, and football just all right. You still gonna have a good time. But if football is doing great and basketball, hey, man, you can rewrite the history books on fun. I promise you. You know what I mean? So he keeps saying this, and I'm telling y'all, man, like, hey, man, I ain't seen nothing like it, man, when football doing good. I was telling them cats at UT, Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, and all them guys, like, hey, man, y'all doing good. Like, y'all ranked top 10 in the nation. But, hey, man, when this football team do good, y'all ain't seen Knoxville. I'm telling you, it's different. You know what I mean? The whole state is different. So go ahead, man. So I understand when you say you were having fun, man, because, hey, boy, woo, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah. So I was having so much fun in school, man. I say, man, you know what, man? I'm gonna stay in school one more year, man. I'm gonna be a top 5 pick next season.
Yeah.
That's how I was thinking. They had fired the coach. You know what I'm saying? I had Donnell Harvey on the phone. He say, man, look here, man, I'm coming to Georgia.
Hey.
He said, man, I'm coming to Georgia. So now I'm sitting here like, I'm like, man, you need to tell me. I'm like, man, so Donnell Harvey already reached out and say, man, if you staying in school, I'm coming. So I'm like, oh, man, Donnell's gonna come. I got D.A. Lane here.
Amen.
So I'm excited about that, man. But they had fired the coach that I had played for 2 years. So now they got Jim Harrod coming in. So mind you, you know, I had my oldest daughter about to be born around this time too. You know what I mean? So I had a lot on my plate that I had to think about during this process.
Right.
So I was actually meeting with Harrod, like, look here, man. You know, I let him know what's going on. Like, look, man, I got my daughter. She's gonna be born.
Right.
So I need to understand if I'm gonna be able to get some help, some alumni gonna be able to give me a little side job or something, man, where I can be able to take care of my daughter. Because I can go to the league and make sure it's done myself.
Right.
But I actually, you know what I mean? But that's my concern right now, to make sure that my daughter's gonna be taken care of. So, you know, I'm meeting with him, man. D.A. Lane, he waiting on my phone call when I get out of the meeting, man, because I told him I'm gonna meet with him, see what he's talking about. And then, like, I want to stay in school. I went into the meeting wanting to stay in school.
Right.
So after having that meeting with him, man, he said, Jumaine, like, after he told me everything I wanted to hear, man, in my mind, I was all, like, I'm in school.
Right.
I'm going to hit Dr. Harvard, like, boy, come on, sign these papers. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, Jumaine, are you going to stay in school? I said, well, I'm going to let you know in the morning. I'm going to meet with my family, and I'll let you know. In my mind, I already knew I was staying in school.
Right.
He told me, he said, Jumaine, if you leave school right now, you'll be pumping gas in 10 years. This is what Jim Harrod told me. That's what led to me leaving school when I didn't want to leave.
Right.
Because in my mind thinking like, man, this is what the coach that want me to come play here think about me.
Right.
And think like my confidence is soaring. Like I know I can go to the league.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I used that what he said to me to really just go out and be like, man, you know what, man, I'm gonna prove him wrong, because that's what I had been doing throughout my career anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody always talked about what I couldn't do, what I'm not gonna be.
Right.
I always use that as fuel, man, and I always tell people you only really need one person to believe in you, and that's you. And I 100% believed in what I was doing, because I put the work in. Like,
right.
I believe in what I'm doing out here. I believe in what I've been accomplishing.
Right.
So for him to say that to me, man, when I walked out the meeting, man, I told D.A. Lane what he told me, and I say, man, I'm out of here. And he was like, what? He said, man, no way this guy said that to you. I say, man, why would I make this up? And from that day, I called the agent. And I say, look here, man, line the workouts for me.
Mm-hmm.
And every morning, man, I wrote on a piece of paper, pumping gas in 10 years, put it on the wall. So every morning I woke up for them workouts, man, I seen it. That was my motivation, to kill every workout that I went through, man. And like, that's the only reason I left school, because that man told me that.
Golly, man. Come on. Listen, man. So, hey, dog, do you understand? I don't know if he understands the ripple effect that he started and he messed up, because Donnell, viewers, you're in the boom boom room with Ron Slay and Jumaine Jones, man. It's straight up and down the hill. Ain't no sugarcoating. Donnell Harvey was number one player in the nation in my class coming out. And when I say a gorilla, hey, man, I cannot even imagine you, D.A. Lane, and Donnell Harvey on the same team, man. Like, hey, that would have been totally different. And I'm applaud you, because I'm happy it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And I'm happy you left, because we ended up winning the SEC when I came in my freshman year, you know what I mean, which was cool. But, man, if that would have took place, hey, man, because I remember when I got to Tennessee, man, all they were talking about, my homie, Isaiah Victor, was talking about you. And, you know what I mean? I was like, man, what's it like? Who's some of the dogs? It was like Chris Porter and Jumaine Jones. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, all right, what Jumaine be doing? They put up a clip. Man, you dunked the ball. I always tell you this. They showed you dunking the ball, and somehow it timed right and kicked all the way up in the stands after you dunked it. I was like, oh, man, dude, I can just going crazy. You know what I mean? I can't wait to play against a cat like this. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I'm trying to find some fuel to fuel my fire. You know what I mean? But, hey, man, I had a run-in with Jim Harrick the same way. My senior year or junior year? Senior year, I think. And he had left me off a list. Left me off. They asked him at mid-season before we go into SEC play, who's the top 5 guys in the SEC? And he said me 6, and they just didn't air it. Man, all I heard was the 5 names he said before. When you say lit them on fire, man, I lit them folks on fire. I had 35 plus every time we played Georgia that year. Like, and them my boys, man. Ezra Williams, all them cats, right. Jarvis Hayes, Rashad Wright, all them. But I told Coach Harrick, man, this all because of you. I'm telling him during the game, this all because of you. You know what I mean? You know how I'm talking out there, man. This is all because of you. So if he would have just played it right in your scenario, dog, you come back to school, man, and man, you already were rewriting the history books. Goodness gracious, man. Ain't no telling, man. Woo! All right, boy. That could have been dangerous, dog. That could have been dangerous. So you get the workouts lined up, you know what I mean? What was that like going in there knowing that, you know what I mean, you got the fuel to your fire, you rolling. What was that like? What was your mentality like going into that?
Well, I mean, he fueled me, man. Like you know, Jim Harrick really fueled me in every workout that I went to, man. I wanted to kill every single workout I went to, man. You know, I motivated myself. I had fuel already. Every morning I woke up, I wrote it up there. That fueled me going through that process, because I was projected to be a lottery pick. You know what I mean? So I had only worked out for the teams that was in the top 16. You know, I was invited to the draft. So meeting with teams, talking with teams or whatever. And I was actually in Philadelphia, man, working out, training in Philadelphia, man. I had the opportunity to actually go to a 76ers practice. Um, had the opportunity to sit down and have a talk with Larry Brown, man. We sat down and chopped it up for like an hour.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I always tell people. Always be respectable people, man, and learn how to conversate with people, man, because you never know who you might need in the process. Never burn no bridges with anybody. Always be respectable, even if they do you wrong, man. Always treat them the way you want to be treated, just in case, because you never know when you might need somebody. So just off that conversation, man, like after the draft came, like Cleveland Cavaliers told me if Sean Marion went 9 to Phoenix Suns, they was drafting me at 11. Sean Marion went to Phoenix and at 11 pick came around. Cleveland went the other direction and drafted Trajan Langdon, who was in nobody draft picks. Nobody expected to even be drafted to the second round.
Right.
So that kind of screwed the whole draft up. And then, I learned later on that it was because I dropped in the draft because people thought I had sickle cell. I actually had sickle cell trait, which is a big difference than having sickle cell. The trait really means that I can't, have a kid with somebody else that has the trait because the kid's gonna have sickle cell for sure.
Right.
So that was a mistake that was made by the staff there, and why they passed on me. Now I'm in the green room by myself.
Right.
Wondering what's going on, like what's happening, like where am I going now? I haven't worked out for any of these teams. Like if anybody that know the business about the NBA, now the teams that's actually, when all the players are going by, now it's pretty much like who's the best available.
Right.
Saying, but in my case, when you're talking business to owners that's investing this much money in you, they think like, why did all these teams pass on him when he was projected to be a lottery pick?
Exactly.
What is wrong with him? Something's wrong. We're not gonna waste this pick on this guy because something's wrong that nobody is telling.
Right.
You know what I mean? So luckily, man, I had that conversation with Larry Brown, man, and he was actually telling me, he was like, man, I'm so glad to even sit here and have this conversation with you, man, but there's no way that we're gonna even have a chance to draft you.
Right.
But I wish we would. When that came, and Larry Brown was in the books, man, working with any team to try to pick me up so that I can be traded to Philadelphia, man. And that's how I ended up getting drafted, being the 27th pick.
That's big time, man. And everybody that's involved with sports, especially if you had the opportunity to be involved in pro sports, it's a copycat league, not only on the court, but in the front office and everything. If one, like you said, if one team do it, everybody has to trickle down effect. Everybody's gonna do the same thing. But like you said, I only take that one person. You know what I mean? And luckily you had that conversation with Larry Brown. And man, Larry Brown, one of the coolest people. I had the opportunity to when he was at Charlotte to go up there and work out with the Hornets at the time, and they might have still been the Bobcats at the time, but worked out with him and got to talk to him. And man, he'd sit there and have. So I know what you're talking about. He'll have a conversation like we sitting there talking right now. He remember so much information, man. It's crazy, man. For a guy like that, man have retained a lot of information, man. He was telling me about when I played Carolina my freshman year, and I'm like, dude, how you know this? Like, why am I on the radar? That made me come out there like, damn, man, Larry Brown know who I am. Man. You know what I mean?
Bro, look here, man. The 2 years I played for Larry Brown, man, I would tell you, man, after every single time out, man, we either got a layup or we were shooting free throws, man. The man, like, come up with plays off a fly like we were only run one time that whole year, man. Yeah. Every single game he was doing this. How do you have all these plays in your head?
Right.
Like, when it came to X's and O's, man, this man was a genius, man. I never been around any coach like him before, man, and I always tip my hat off to him to be able to learn as much as I did about the game through him, man. And that rubbed off on me my whole career, really. Really, people was like, man, your IQ is crazy for basketball, but it was only because of Larry Brown.
That's straight up. So we're gonna wrap up in a second here, man, because we're gonna save some. Because I gotta get you in the boom boom room personally. You know what I mean? Physically in the boom boom room. But before we go, man, you had an opportunity. You stepped into the league in Philly, and tell me, for kids listening, you coming into the league, you are a scorer, bona fide, stamp, sign, seal, deliver, score. Ain't no question about it. Like, it is what it is. For you to last in the league, you're going to a team with one of the greatest scorers to ever play in the NBA with Allen Iverson. How do you stick into the league? And did somebody give you information or something to tell you, like, Jumaine, you know you ain't coming in here about, we don't need you to average 30. You know what I mean? Because we got the run-up for the MVP and went on to be the MVP in y'all year, the year y'all had to run. So tell me a little bit about that, where you had to train yourself differently coming into the league.
Well, that's the thing too, man. I was always able to adjust to whatever situation, man, and be able to do multiple things on the court. So I got a rude awakening, man. My first day of practice, you know what I mean? Like, all I ever did was put that thing in the hole.
Right.
You know, that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking they wouldn't even draft me if that's not what they want me to come over here to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I went into the first practice to doing what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm getting buckets. You know what I mean? And from that first day, man, Larry Brown pulled me over to the side and was like, "Look here, Mr. Jones, if you want to play on my team, you got to find yourself something else to do, because we got a little guy on our team who's gonna shoot 50 times a night, and you're not gonna be able to get those shots."
Yeah.
So from that point on, now you know what I'm saying? From that point on, now I'm thinking like, man, like, what am I gonna do now? Like, now I got to adjust everything that I've been doing my entire career to be able to adjust to a team, to be and try to figure out how I'm gonna be valuable to be able to help this team without doing what I've been doing for my whole career.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I was blessed and very fortunate, man, to be able to have veterans on my team like Theo Ratliff, Aaron McKee, Eric Snow. They really helped me out through that process, man, because I mean, I went and folded for a minute, man, because I had never faced nothing like that before.
Right.
You know what I mean? So mentally, I was sitting here trying to figure it out. Like, man, like I'm sitting in the room, like all I'm thinking about, like how am I gonna be able to help this team out? I thought this is why they addressed it. So I had those three guys, man, to help me out. And later on, you know, once we did the trade, Dikembe was one of those people that helped me through that process as well, man. And I was blessed in that. And the reason why I say that, man, because it's not like that on every team, man. You don't have veterans like that that's really buying into the younger guys and trying to, you know, guide them through the process. Right. You don't have that on every team, man. So that's why when I keep saying blessed, that's what I mean, because I had those guys coming in here like, "Look here, Jumaine, man, I know what you do. I've been watching you at Georgia, man. I know you put that thing in the hole. Right. But look here, Larry Brown is a person that he don't like to play younger players. He always want to make that process for them longer than it should be. And he, you know, they explained it to me, you know, and I was always a listener and want to learn how I can be better. Right. And they was, you know, like, look here, man, and he's a defensive coach. Go out here and go defend. If you go out and defend, then he's going to give you that opportunity to go out there to be able to score the basketball. Yeah. But you're going to have to defend to be able to get out there on that court. Yeah. You know what I mean? So now I'm transitioning my game, like I'm out there trying to guard now. You know what I mean? Like, that's my forte. You know what I mean? To go out there and play defense. Yeah. You know, not that I couldn't, you know what I mean? Not that I didn't have the ability to do it, just wasn't something that I was asked to do. Right. You know what I mean? So now I got to adjust myself to that, man. And that wasn't an easy process, man. That's why I always say every process, like the process, you can't cheat it. You know what I mean? I went through the entire process, man, and trying to, you know, adjust my game to fit something where I can get the opportunity. And my rookie year, man, I didn't really play that much, man. Right. It was a whole learning process for me throughout that year, but I was working. I learned how to be a professional. I learned how to do everything that I could control so that they can't blame it on that. Right. I learned that I'm finna go to practice an hour and a half early. I'm gonna be out here get shots up and sweating before everybody come out here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be able to go out here and be the hardest working person that's in this gym.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be going live.
Right.
You know, I'm going hard every minute that I'm out here. You're gonna notice that I'm out here on this court.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I can control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can control all of that.
Yeah.
When the game time comes and he don't play me, it's okay for me because I know I did everything that I control.
Exactly.
It's on him the reason why that I'm not playing,
Mm-hmm.
not because that I didn't do.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And so that was my mentality that whole year, and I got that, you know, help with some veterans and stuff like that. And then all I did was work hard every single day,
Mm-hmm.
every single day, every single day. The process was going, and then my second year, man, that's when I was able to get an opportunity.
Right.
They was like, man, Larry Brown met with me. He said, look here, Mr. Jones, I want to meet with you because we about to trade Tony Kukoc and Theo Rattler to Atlanta Hawks
Mm-hmm.
to get the kid Tumbo. And he was like, I'm meeting with you because this means that you're going to start playing more minutes. You're going to be the backup 3-man.
That's real.
You know, my mentality, I'm thinking I'm better than the 3. I'm better than George.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? That was my mentality, you know what I'm saying? But I accept that role coming off the bench behind George Lynch, you know, because he was solid. You know what I mean? Solid defense. You know, I ain't taking nothing from George.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was, but you know, coming in that process, I'm sitting up here like, man, what do you mean? Am I ready? Coach, man, I've been waiting on this opportunity.
Ready.
I've been working hard every single day for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Just to get, like, I was working hard every day just so I can get 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If I got 5 minutes, I know that he's going to keep me out there 10.
Yeah.
That was my mentality. I knew that when I get out there, something was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was going to make something happen. I'm going to put the pressure on the game, put the pressure on these coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was my mentality, to put pressure on them.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything that I need to do, and that's the process that these kids don't understand. Do everything that you can control, man, and then you put the pressure on them.
Right.
And then it's easier for you to deal with everything else once you know you done that.
Right.
If you haven't done that, then all you're gonna do is make excuses.
Straight up.
You know what I mean? I've never been that person making no excuses because I know I did the grind. I didn't cheat the process.
Mm-hmm.
I went through it, and I did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when kids, I done been through every situation, man. Come talk to me.
Right. Right.
Situation that I haven't been through, man. Yeah, I've been that person sitting on the bench. Yes, I've been that person. Man, you watching that? Yeah, I played a lot on teams that I played in the league, but man, it was a process to that. It didn't start out like that.
Exactly.
You know, so everything is a process, like, man. Everything was a process, and the thing is, you know, I had so much joy because I was able to run into Jim Harriet one more time.
Yeah.
And I was in the league at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to be able to get that joy, because, you know, I played with Lamar Odom when I was with the Lakers. So he coached with Lamar Odom in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
He was at the game. So for me to be able to get that opportunity to see this man one more time after all we had been through.
Well, you supposed to be pumping gas.
And he actually came up to me and was like, how you doing, Mr. Jones? Do you remember me? This is what he asked me. Do I remember him?
Wow.
And you know, like I always tell people, man, always be humble and always talk to people with respect and talk to people how you want to, man. And this is what I told him. I say, do I remember you? I say, man, first of all, I just want to shake your hand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I want to thank you, man, because you're the reason why I'm wearing this uniform.
That is. Mm-hmm.
And I walked away from him. No disrespect.
Yeah.
No, none of it. I handled it like a professional, and it made me feel so good inside just to even present that to him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So a lot of kids that's out here, man, I know that a lot of kids go through a lot of stuff with coaches or parents with anybody, man. I always handle it right, man, because you never know. You know what I mean? You never know. Treat people how you want to be treated, man. Keep doing the things that you're doing to get where you want to be at, man, and everything will fall in place for you.
That is, man. Hey, man. And guess what? We're going to have to end, man, because you done set it off right there. You done dropped so many gems, and if anybody know you, I know that's exactly what you told Jim Harris, too. You know what I mean? I know. Real quick, though, before I let you go, you didn't get to make it to the NCAA tournament, but you did get to go to the finals. So that had to be – tell me what that real quick, sum it up, and we're gonna save a little bit for the in-person interview too. You know what I mean? Tell me what that was like, man. You out there with the stars, Shaq, Kobe. You out there with the MVP of the league. You know what I mean? And you playing a pivotal role at this time.
Man, you don't even understand, man, like how emotional that was for me every time they called my name out in the starting lineup, man, to be in the finals, man. All I can think about is the process that I went through to be able to get here. Like, how am I here playing, starting in the NBA finals, man? It was a big part of why we here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I get emotional now, even time like I think about that.
Right.
Like, man, like how am I starting a kid like 20 years, 21 years old, starting in NBA finals that came from the gutter, came from Cocoa, Florida.
Right.
From the gutter, you know what I'm saying? Like, how am I here starting in the NBA finals?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even when I thought about it, man, it made me emotional because I'm sitting here thinking like, all them 17s, all them suicides, you know what I mean? All that, ain't no balls today. We not running today. Like, all of this was flashing through my mind. Like, man, you work for this though.
Yeah.
You work hard to be here in this moment. You earn that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was probably one of the most exciting times in my life, man, in my basketball career, is to be able to be starting and be a major part of making the NBA finals, man.
So last quick rapid fire question. You can answer real simple. Y'all had the MVP on y'all team, but I want to ask you about that in person. So we're gonna leave that out. Going against the Lakers and Shaq and Kobe, rest in peace, Kobe. Who was the most dominant out there? I ain't saying who, you know what I mean? Who was the best player? Who was the most dominant out there, Shaq or Kobe at that time? Like, you run up against him, you had opportunities to guard Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, we know he's a special guy. Did you ever have to get caught behind Shaq?
Man, you know what? I actually had a couple of times that I was caught behind Shaq, man, and our whole thing was whenever Shaq got the ball and he got too deep, just foul him.
Right.
You know what I mean? He caught me down there a couple of times where I'm grabbing him and I'm almost thinking I was going in the rim. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there like, man, I'm all on the sideline trying to foul him. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
And you think about it, man. You talking about two guys that was in the prime of their careers. You know what I mean? And I don't, people that know about basketball, man. If you notice anything about that series, man, Kobe wasn't the person that hurt us.
Exactly.
Kobe wasn't the person that hurt us, man. It was Shaq. Like, Shaq was so dominant, man. Like we had no answers, and we had the best defender in the league guarding him. Yeah. And that didn't even matter.
It's a defensive player of the year right here.
like if you think about it, you got two of the best players in their prime, and you got arguably the two best role players the game ever seen in Robert Horry and Derek Fisher.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you think about it, man, and we was in every single game.
Yes, you were.
Every single game we was in, but we had no answer for Shaq, man. I remember we in the media, we sitting out there watching film, man, and Larry Brown watching the film, all of us watching film, and he looking at the film, and he got so pissed off, like, oh man, why don't they just give him the ball every single time? And just slung the remote, like slung it up against the wall, like, man, come on, let's go practice.
Yeah. he know it ain't nothing you can do. Yeah.
And Dikembe was doing all he could, man. I gained so much respect for Dikembe, man, after that series, because he was actually doing everything that he could do right. But when you got a guy like Shaq, man, there wasn't no stopping Shaq in his prime, man. He was just too dominant. Couldn't nobody stop him. Couldn't nobody guard him.
Just different.
And we couldn't say nothing to no defenders because they was doing the best that they could do.
Right. Right. That's real. Hey, man, so we're going to end on that note, man. I appreciate you coming on. My dog, man, SEC legend. You know what I mean? Georgia legend. Overall, man, great guy, man. My OG showed me some things, you know what I mean? So It's salute, man. We'll get into that later, man. You got anything you want to leave the people with?
Hey, but look here too, man.
Here we go.
Now we let these viewers know, man.
Here we go, y'all.
We ain't forgot about that bet, man. When Georgia came down there to Tennessee, bro. Like I need to see that Georgia gear on you.
Hey man,
I need to see
I'm
that
just
Georgia
waiting.
gear on you.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting on you to send my shirt or something, dog. And I got you, man. Hey, viewers, y'all listen, man. Y'all don't get sidetracked with that right there, man. We ain't tripping out, man. That's my dog, man. It's love, man. Love. We're gonna get y'all back in basketball season.